because Fantasy is putting himself in the lead by doing this, taking out all of Flash's tanks. And it's interesting that Flash committed so heavily to tanks without any anti-air whatsoever other than that Valkyrie. He was really banking on that Valkyrie, but he didn't have the scan to back it up once the race came in. Kind of unfortunate. But he has positioned another tank line, plenty of tanks. Flash is very heavily committed to tanks. But Fantasy is going to try to break this now. I must break you. More Rocky analogies. Try to get as many Rocky analogies in my commentaries as I possibly can. 10 Rocky analogies per minute. That's, yeah, it's like APM. Only, yeah, I'm not going to spell all that out. Okay, third base coming up for Fantasy. Building his third, and expect Flash to do the same as soon as he feels safe. With the amount of tanks he has and the amount of mines he's laying. Runs into a few of Fantasy's vultures. But with the tank line and the mine line, Flash will feel safe enough to move out and put down his third base soon. There's an engineering bay being built. I think it was an engineering bay from Fantasy. Could possibly be another base. It might have been a trick of the eye at that 9 o'clock position, but we'll find out soon. There's Flash. Huge mine line from him just to supplement that big line of tanks. But the vultures aren't going to be affected by it. Fantasy could definitely sneak by and get some vulture harassment. Even with the nice tank positioning that Flash has, it's definitely still susceptible to that, especially with the dropships running around. Okay, two opposite vultures about to meet at that 6 o'clock position. We'll see who survives that tiny engagement later. Okay, the tank. Ooh, nice mine drag into that tank. Oh, look at Best. Best is so excited here because, yeah, Fantasy is doing extremely well against Flash's push, and he's going to out-macro him soon if Flash doesn't keep up as far as base count goes. Because Fantasy is working on taking that top half of the map, and he has the air advantage. Definitely has the air advantage now with the Wraiths out. No more Valkyries in sight for Flash unless he's been hiding them near his starports. I haven't seen any more Valkyries from him to fight back the Wraiths. So really, he doesn't have much anti-air. I'm looking around for Flash, no anti-air, nowhere to build turrets in the middle. So he might have to retreat again here. Otherwise, he's going to lose. Oh, he is coming in now with his own Wraiths and a Valkyrie. Has another Valkyrie in tow. Built another Valk to protect his tank line. But Flash is very much on the defense in this game right now. Fantasy keeping on the aggression, inching closer and closer to that 6 o'clock because he knows that Flash going to try to take that 6 o'clock, and Flash is building that 6 o'clock right now. And Fantasy going to try to tighten the noose. He's coming in with so many vultures. The vultures going down to the 6 o'clock position. Incredible amount of vultures. But with a few tanks, Flash should be able to clean this up. He's already transferring in with his SCVs. Bad time to transfer because these SCVs, quite a few are going to go down, I think. Fantasy focusing in on the SCVs so he can kill as many as possible before is... wow, look at all these freaking Valkyries from Flash. Where did he get all of these? He must have had them all clumped up earlier because I just saw the single... Valkyrie along with the race, but look at this incredible amount of Valkyries for Flash, but they will probably start glitching soon because it's a well-known Valkyrie glitch. If the more Valkyries you have, the more sprites you have on screen, the less that Valkyries work. A lot of people seem to think this only happens in big games like 4 versus 4 or something like that, but no, it happens in 1v1s very frequently, and that's why Valkyries are not used later in the game, because they just don't work. The rockets just don't fire off, not all of them anyway, usually a couple, but it's a weird glitch, but it does keep the Valkyrie from being powerful later in the game. But I don't think we're there yet as far as the sprite count goes. Not sure the exact amount of sprites that'll make it glitch like that, but yeah, we'll find out soon, just because the freaking amount of Valkyries that Flash has pumped. I'm sure we'll reach that glitch limit in this game soon enough, just you wait. But some harassment finally from Flash on Fantasy's mineral line. So Flash trying to get a bit of vulture terrorism of his own. But here comes the vulture terrorist himself down at the 6 o'clock position. He's working his way to that brand new 6 o'clock, and he's going to drop who knows what. Vultures! Of course, it's Fantasy. What was I thinking? How could I possibly think there's anything else? and that dropship. So Flash might have to get out of there with those SCVs soon, or just move in with his tanks, because the SCVs being picked at, quite a few of them going down. Inside this main, another SCV, gas mining SCV, about to go down at that 6 o'clock. Some excellent harassment from Fantasy. And the Fantasy is coming in with his Wraiths now. No Valkyries inside. Here come the Valkyries chasing away the Wraiths. And hopefully Flash has more scan prepared this time around, because that's what doomed his first Valk. Okay, Flash is already establishing his 4th base, but Fantasy already has his 4th base, mining at the 2 o'clock position. Just got that up and mining. He's building a refinery there. So he's well on his way to taking the top half of this map. Look at the excellent mine lines from both here. This is high caliber TVT, folks. Flash taking the 5 o'clock position. And yeah, this is going to be an incredible mid to late game TVT, because both are going to take half. And then the strategies branch off from there. No doubt some kind of air unit, battle cruisers, wraiths. It's going to be nuts. But so far, Flash is holding his own as far as harassment goes. Fantasy's gotten a lot of successful vulture harassment at that 6 o'clock, but not much else as far as harassment goes. Flash has kept most of his SCVs alive at that 6 o'clock. And now it seems that Flash getting ready to move out and try to drop behind either the natural expansion or straight inside the main. This is going to be kind of nuts, because the Valkyrie's coming in the exact moment. Tanks dropping Fantasy at that low ground just to protect that natural expansion. Flash has a ton of tanks on the high ground. Most of them went down right there, I see. Flash scanning again with his Valkyries, chasing off all of the Wraiths. All the Wraiths going down for Fantasy, so he has no more Wraiths to fight back the Valkyries. But just with the one single tank here, Fantasy is not in that big of danger, I think. I think he ran his SCVs, as many as he could anyway, before losing some mining at that natural expansion. But all the tanks down now on the high ground. So Flash is going to have to get out of there with his Valkyries, otherwise they might be secretly sniped by Wraiths. Okay. Yeah, the 5 o'clock position under fire now by Fantasy. He's trying to come in, laid a ton of mines on that high ground area. Absolutely no tanks to be able to get up that ramp now. And yeah, it's just kind of blocking off the choke. There is a couple of tanks moving in now, trying to get past the minefield. And finally cleaning up those vultures at the 5 o'clock position, but not before a lot of SCVs were sniped. I saw an awful lot at that 5 o'clock go down. Okay, look at the epic mine lines from both Valkyries still in this game. Hanging out, looking for more of the Wraiths to snipe, but it would be a bad... Ooh, Fantasy's moving up. He's going to do a huge attack, huge aggressive attack. Look at these freaking tanks coming up for Fantasy. Huge mine line. He devoted everything to this ground army, tanks and vultures alone, and now he's crawling forward. Flash is in trouble. He has to pull his troops together, because he has some tanks kind of further over toward the 5 o'clock position, but he might have to bring those in soon, because this is a huge attack for Fantasy. I don't think he's going to let up anytime soon either. Another scan from Flash to making sure he can find those tanks, get them before they inch any closer. No, because Flash is in trouble. All of his bases are in trouble. He's got to play on the defensive. Look at, oh, 2 tanks go down for Flash. 2 critical tanks right next to the 2 6 o'clock bases. Kind of right between both of them, which protected both of them. But now, loss of those tanks is definitely going to hurt Flash. That's okay. Fantasy has been pretty comfortably mining this whole game. A little bit of vulture harassment from Flash, but really not much to speak of. He just had those 3 vultures earlier, and the tanks on the high ground behind the natural expansion, but that wasn't that successful. So Fantasy has had much more successful harassment in this game, and that's kind of why he has such a larger ground army at this stage. I wish we had a mineral and unit count at this stage, but here comes Fantasy. He's moving forward, another big attack, moving forward, sieging as close as he possibly can. Flash has got to get in there with everything. He's got to pull back with all of his troops, otherwise he's going to lose his natural expansion and possibly his important production buildings inside of this main. But so far, Flash has committed to keeping his tank line next to that 6 o'clock position. Keeping the tanks there. He hasn't pulled back yet, hasn't panicked yet, but he could possibly soon. But here come the science vessels coming in now for Fantasy. The observer's looking at all the rest of the tech that Fantasy has. He has 2 armories going, 1-1 on Fantasy's troops, and Flash is committed to attack only. So he has 2 attack on the ground troops, which should help him to defend against this big attack for Fantasy, because Fantasy has even more troops ready to go. If we see all those troops unsiege again, this could be extremely bad times for Flash. I can see that Flash is trying to pick his battles, pick off units here and there, as many tanks as he can possibly get away from that tank line to help out in the defense. Because yeah, he's definitely on the defensive. No harassment so far from Flash. He's picking up a lot of troops and dropships, and he's going to try to move out and cause a lot of damage with those. But this could leave him extremely open to Fantasy's gigantic army. Fantasy moving forward, down closer to the 6 o'clock position, get as close as he possibly can with the Vultures. Flash forced to drop all of his troops down near the 6 o'clock. Defensive matrix by Fantasy on the front tank, keeping that tank alive as long as he possibly can. But yeah, Flash kept him away critically from that 6 o'clock. And Flash has definitely been keeping up his micro under all this duress. It's very impressive to see high-level pro play like this. Mid to late game TVT, when you're being harassed at every single base, and you have to deal with the middle as well. To keep up your macro in a game like this is just incredible from both. They both kept up their macro, and they both have huge armies in the middle. Okay, Fantasy inching forward, trying to get closer to that 5 o'clock position, because now Flash has established the 5 o'clock natural, and he does have the entire lower half of the map. So Fantasy is coming in now with some excellent Vulture harassment again, gets the mines over there, and here comes Flash with his dropships. He's going to try to drop on top of the high ground, I think, to take care of this threat. So more SCVs are going to go down at this 5 o'clock natural expansion. And there's Flash. He dropped some tanks on the high ground. Almost got that Vulture. Oh, man. Mine dragging unnecessarily into those tanks. And that's definitely going to hurt Flash once Fantasy starts tightening the noose, which he's going to be quick to do soon, I think. Got plenty of troops out there. And okay, the dropship's being filled again by Flash. Let's see if he can finally get something done. Some kind of aggressive attack done with these dropships instead of spending them... using them for the defense. Nope, he's going to have to use them on the defense again, because here comes Fantasy and getting closer and closer to that natural expansion. Defensive matrix at the front tank again. So here comes Flash trying to find the best position to drop. He still has a bunch of units in the drop ships, but he's just moving away from Fantasy's army. He's going straight up instead of dropping to defend. So he's counting on just piecemeal troops to defend his natural expansion as he goes up to drop everything inside of Fantasy's main. He's going for the Doom drop, trying to drop everything inside this main, scanning, getting rid of those wraiths. Oh man, this could be a devastating attack from Flash if he can get all these production buildings.